Today I'm going to give you an introductory look into Midjourney so you can start creating amazing images for your author or writing business. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason, the nerdy novelist, and if you're new to this channel is usually about writing with AI and helping writers and authors write better, write faster with AI. But in this video, we're actually going to be looking at Midjourney because I believe Midjourney to be probably the second most important AI application that writers can use because there is a lot of potential in art for use as a writer. And so if you are not a writer and you're just into this for art, welcome because this will be useful for you as well. I'm going to be going over the basics for Midjourney and everything you need to know to get started. And none of it really has to do specifically for authors, but authors and non-authors can get some good use out of it. So let's go ahead and dive in. Midjourney, as you may know, is a AI art development platform, and it is, in my opinion, the best one. If you look at any of the others, none of them really come close to what this one can do. Now, I do think that will change. Eventually, we're going to get to a point where AI art is just, you can't really tell them apart because they're all so good. But we're not there yet. I give that another maybe 2 years before we're at that point. The biggest competitors, in my opinion, are, I'd say probably Adobe Firefly is the one that Midjourney really needs to worry about the most. But right now, Midjourney is definitely the best. We can, first of all, actually, let's go over here. If you want to sign up for Midjourney, you go to midjourney.com. And then you come over here to the bottom right corner and click Join the Beta. When you do that, it will prompt you to open Discord. Now, Midjourney is a little bit weird, and a lot of people get stumped if you're not technically literate. When you're just getting started with Midjourney, it can be a little bit tricky to get it started. You have to do it through Discord. Discord, if you've played with Slack, is a little bit like that. It's a chat community where you can just have chats with different people in different groups, a little bit like Facebook groups too, if you use those, but more chat based. And I'll show you the layout in a little bit, but you are going to have to download Discord and install it if you don't have that already. And then you will have to add Midjourney as a Discord app within that. So with that in mind, let's also discuss the pricing plans for Midjourney. There's when you sign up, you will be given a little bit of free credits. I think it usually equates to approximately 25 image generations that you can do. And with that, you can get a feel for it, see if you like it, see how cool it is. But those 25 image generations are going to go real fast, let me tell you. And so there are 3 basic plans that you can have. The first one is $10 a month. It's definitely the best value here. Well, the cheapest for sure. Or you can get it for $96 for a year. It gives you 3.3 hours of GPU time a month. Now that's kind of hard to quantify. People hear that and you're like, what does that mean? And I believe this is estimated to be approximately 200 image generations a month. And you think, oh, 200 image generations, that'll be nothing. No, you can burn through that pretty quickly, mostly because you're not always going to get what you want in a single prompt. You're going to have to do it over and over and over again to get what you need. And so that is why I recommend the standard plan, because it gives you, it gives you 15 hours of fast GPU time. But even if you run out of that, you're given unlimited relaxed GPU time. So if you run out of the fast GPU time, that means you can still do the image generations. It's just going to take longer to generate them. And I've found that it isn't actually that long. And then for all of these plans, you can purchase more GPU time. And the main plus for getting the Pro plan is that not only do you have more GPU time, you go from 15 hours to 30 hours, but you also have privacy. you get this thing here called stealth mode, which is only available in the Pro plan, and that will allow you to get full privacy on your images so they are not widely available for anyone to see, and only you can see them. I personally use this plan mostly because with the current state of image copyright for AI images, you cannot have a copyright on an AI generated image. And so I want to make it as difficult as possible for people to get a hold of my raw images that I generated for my AI art. And so I keep it private for that reason. I prefer to just download them and then have them available for me, and knowing that nobody else is going to use them unless I choose to make them public. So that's important there. Plus you get a whole lot more GPU time, which is handy. So that is the pricing plan. For most people, I would say the standard plan is what you want to go with, because you definitely want this unlimited GPU time, because you are going to need to try prompting over and over and over again all the time, that you will burn through your GPU time really quick if you don't have this unlimited relaxed GPU time. And so that is where I recommend people go. There is no affiliate for Midjourney. I am not associated with them, but I do highly recommend it, and that's the one I'd go for. Anyway, once you have signed up, you will, so if you have the free plan, if you're just starting out, you come to Midjourney and it'll look something like this. This might look a little chaotic, but you want to come down here to these newbie rooms, and this is where you can try out Midjourney for the first time. You can come in here, hit /imagine, and then try your prompt out here. It will be publicly available for everyone to see, and there will actually be people in here doing the same thing that you're doing. And you only get about 25 image generations from you get those free when you sign up. So once you sign up for a paid plan, you'll be able to come up here to the top left where it says direct messages, and you'll be able to establish a conversation with the Midjourney bot, which then allows you to do this privately. And if you have the private plan, you can turn on stealth mode, and all of this will not be visible to anyone on Midjourney whatsoever. Before we get into prompting and showing you what we can do to create art, let me just show you quickly what this looks like. So if you come back to midjourney.com after you've signed in and everything, and after you have a plan, you can come here and you can see all of the different images that you've been generating. You can see I've been generating a lot of images that are related to the children's book that I'm writing. See my other video for that. So I have a lot of these cute watercolor images that I've been playing around with, and you can see I've got a lot of generations, and this is just for a couple of pages that I've been going for. So you got all of those are fun. You can find them all collected here so you won't lose them. You can also sort this by upscales, so these are the ones that I liked enough to upscale them, which I'll discuss in a minute. And all of these are private, so only I can see these, because I use the stealth mode in Midjourney. But one of the cool things about Midjourney is that you can come here to explore, and you can see what other people are generating with Midjourney. And some of these things are really cool when you look at them. You're like, man, how did they do that? And guess what? You can actually find out. So say you really like this image right here. You can come here, click on these three little dots, go to copy, and then say copy full command. And we now know it'll give you the prompt here for what created this image, so you can try it yourself. And this is why it's really cool that we can do this, but this is also why I use the stealth mode, because if you're using stealth mode, the images you generate will not show up here, so people will not be able to see them. Anyway, so let's say you really liked this prompt. We just copied the command. We can come back to Midjourney, and now we can prompt it. So let's actually discuss how we create an image in Midjourney. First, we start by a / and then you say imagine. That is the most common command you are ever going to be using in Discord for Midjourney. Hit imagine, hit enter, and then we're just going to copy paste that prompt that we saw into this space. And so we've got a young drow male with blue-gray skin, yada, yada, yada. And we can just go ahead and experiment and see what this looks like using the prompt that somebody else had. And there we go. We now have these images right here that it has generated for us. It will always generate 4 on the default. So you can look through these and see if you like them. If you don't like them, all you have to do is come here and do this redo button here. And that you see here, it kind of looks like the refresh icon. You hit that and you have the option to change your prompt a little bit if you like. So we can change something about the prompt here, or we can just say, no, I like the prompt, but I just want to see more options. And then you just hit submit again to get more options. And here are a few other things about Midjourney. All of these buttons, what do these mean? So first of all, since we have 4 images here, these buttons correspond to each of those 4. And the ones that say U1, U2, the U stands for upscale, which means that we can say we like this 4th one here. It looks really good. We want to basically save that one. These images that it has here are kind of low resolution, and so we can just say, hey, I want to upscale that 4th one. And they go 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. And now we have upscaled that particular one, and we can download it. Just right click and click Save Image, and then we can download that and save that to your computer. So pretty simple there. Now what about these V1, V2? Those are a little different, and I'm actually not entirely sure what the V stands for, whether it's version or variety or variation. It's one of those things. But basically, let's say, okay, we like this 4th one, but maybe there's something a little off about it. Maybe I just want to see different versions that are close to this, but not quite the same. We can go ahead and select this different version. And now maybe we want to say instead of a blue-gray skin, we want him to have green skin. Okay? We can just change that, and it'll get something that's close to that original image, but hopefully incorporating our modifications. So let's see if that gives us the green skin version of this character. All right, it tried its best. We definitely have green elements added, but this person clearly doesn't really have green skin. And so you could continue iterating on this and just waiting until you get it. And that is why we tend to burn through credits a lot, because sometimes you just got to hit renew over and over and over again until you get it. But you can see it is trying to do the right job there because of it's adding all of these green elements. And I don't know what's going on here with this one. Sometimes AI art can produce some terrifying things, but overall, you're going to be redoing the prompt over and over and over again until you get exactly what you want. Hopefully in the future, undoubtedly in the future, it's going to get better, so that requires less work. Back in like version 3 of Midjourney, we're in version 5 right now, it took a lot of work to get something that was exactly right. And sometimes it just required dumb luck that you got something that was actually workable. And now with version 5, it tends to be a lot better. So anyway, those are the basics of how you make an image generation and how you upscale or how you ask it for different versions. Now let's talk about prompting a little bit, because prompt engineering for AI art is a whole thing, and we're not going to get too deep into it, but we are going to just start with the basics of what a good prompt in Midjourney looks like. First of all, if we're typing in /imagine here to start a new prompt, it's important to know that the words that are at the beginning of your prompt are weighted more heavily than the words at the end. And so whatever goes first in your prompt should be the most important aspect, object, whatever it is you're trying to get across for this image. And so for the children's book that I'm trying to do, I'm usually start out with something like a cute seagull on a dock. And that'll be the subject, and that's the first thing that I put there. And then you can add other information. And usually what people put after that initial subject is more information about the style, or you could put the background. So I could say a sunset background, right? So that's the second thing here. It's going to be weighted a little less heavily than the first, but still pretty heavily because it's near that. And then we start adding style in the style of a children's book with watercolor illustrations, something like that. Some people will break these up even more. I'm using a lot more natural speech with this, which is supposedly version 5 is a lot better at, but some people might say just children's book, comma, watercolor illustrations, comma, etc. I don't think it matters too much at this point with version 5, but there's some information about the style. We could add more information about the style, say lots of blues and oranges. I'm going to say orange colors, just in case it mistakes that for actual oranges, because you got to be careful with AI. It takes things very literally. Cute and dreamy tone. So you can go to town with your style. You can add lots of things here that you want to. And then so that's the subject, that's the style. Then there are things in Midjourney called commands. I'm going to do a video later that gets into commands because they are a little bit more advanced, and this is just a beginner starting out video. But if you want to do certain specific things, there are commands that are helpful for you, and I will give you one for this video because it's probably the one you will be using the most, and that is aspect ratio. So by default, Midjourney makes all of these images square, perfect square. And if you want it to be, say, more of a portrait mode or landscape mode, or even something really ridiculous like a very wide bar, you can do that in Midjourney, and it's going to affect the output quite a lot. And so the way you do that is to create a command in Midjourney. You hit dash, so hit dash twice, and then hit AR. That stands for aspect ratio. Then you hit space, and then you add the aspect ratio. It goes width, and then a colon, and then height. And so let's say I want this to be a kind of a standard portrait style. That would be a 2:3. So it'll be, this is what you get on like a 4:6 image, for example. That's using a 2:3 aspect ratio. And so it'll be in portrait mode because the 2, it represents the width and it comes first. And so it'll be 2 parts thick and 3 parts tall. If we wanted to be more landscape mode, we could erase that and put 3:2, and then that would be more of a landscape mode. But we're going to do 2:3, and now we're going to get more of a portrait. So that is a basic command. You'll be using this one a lot in Midjourney to get whatever aspect ratio you want. A lot of people use 16:9. That's very common because that's the width of most computer screens. And there are a lot of things you can do. But we're going to go with 2:3 and hit enter and see what it gives us. And here we go. We got a cute seagull on a dock. It definitely followed that pretty closely. We got the sunset background. We got a lot of the style information. This does look pretty, most of them look pretty watercolor styled. We have a lot of blues and oranges like I asked it to do. So it followed this prompt pretty quickly and pretty closely. And so this is a really good example of what you can do with Midjourney, and there's a lot more you can do. We can start getting into some crazy prompts and just go to town with your experimenting. This one might be a bit boring because, you know, this is kind of on my mind with the children's book I'm currently creating. But if you really want to go and put in something weird, then by all means go to town and experiment and have fun, because guess what? With the $30 or higher plan, you can get unlimited generations and just use them to your heart's content however you like. This has been a beginner look at Midjourney. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. We will be doing another one in Midjourney with a few more advanced tips if that's something for you, and I'll see you then.